Dr. Stein taking over. We're going to start Chafam and Aleph on the bottom by the mission. Is that correct? Is that what you're holding? Yeah. The Mishnah says, Nashim v'avadim k'tanim p'turim kriyashma. Women, slaves, that would be non-Jewish slaves that are obligated in mitzvahs, the same mitzvahs that women are obligated in. Children are exempt from reciting the Shema. Women are exempt from reciting the Shema. That's an easy one. It's a mitzvah station man grama. It's a time-bound mitzvah. Women are exempt from positive commands that are time-bound. We'll see. Ketanim, when it says children are exempt from Kriya Shema, that is a little complication between Rashi and Tosfos. Rashi says that even a child that's Higil China, even a child that's the age of education, he could recite the Shema. He is able to recite it. But the father's not obligated to train him because the father isn't home at the time of Shema often, or regularly. Tosfos disagrees with this. Tosfos says we're dealing about a katan, a child that's under the age. And then we have to learn the Gemara later to see exactly what's the Mishnah later, to see exactly how this is going to play out. But okay, so far...
He's not disagreeing, he's just saying that it's a different age of the katan.
He would disagree, because he would say katan shigel is obligated to recite the Shema. We're only talking about that. So, and then it goes on, it says, we turn the page, we're on top of Chafam Beis, Min Tefillin. They're all exempt from Tefillin. According to Rashi, even though he's the age that he would be able to know how to wrap it on, but maybe he can't control his body well enough, that it should be clean when he's wearing them. And the same is with women and slaves. They are exempt because of time-bound mitzvahs. Tefillin tefillin, time-bound mitzvahs. Tefillin is exempt because it's Shabbos. You don't have to wear tefillin. Or because at night you don't have to wear tefillin. Whichever one, there's different opinions. But they're obligated in davening. U'be mezuzah. U'be birkas hamazon. They're obligated in davening, mezuzah, and birkas hamazon. Let's see in the Gemara what's going on. There's a machlekes about everything. That's what I tell my students. If they don't know the answer on the test, just write it's a machlekes, and they're probably right. Okay, goes like this. Kriya Shema, we'll see in the Gemara. Kriya Shema pshita. Kriya Shema, it's obvious. Mitzvah shazman gramahu. But you have to tell me that women and slaves are exempt. Mitzvah shazman gramahu. V'chol mitzvah shazman gramahu nashim peturis. The women are exempt from that. You don't have to make a special Mishnah about this. We know this as it's from the general rule. No. Could have thought this is different. This is accepting God, accepting the yoke of heaven. Right? Could have said this is a different story. It has to say specifically that they're exempt from Kriya Shema as well. They're exempt from Tefillin Pshita. This is obvious. Well, there is a comparison Tefillin to mezuzah. It says ukshartam and it says uchsavtam. So there's a comparison there. And since mezuzah they're chayav, could have thought maybe they're chayav also in Tefillin because of that comparison. There's no, they're exempt. But chayavim b'tefillah, and they're obligated into daven. Gemara explains.
So a single woman living in her own apartment is not obligated to put up a mezuzah?
She is obligated. I could have thought that she's just like she's obligated to put up a mezuzah. She's obligated to wear tefillin. So it has to tell me the Mishnah tells me that she's exempt.
Well, why can't you answer that the mitzvah of mezuzah is on the bias and not on her, as opposed to the tefillin that's on the person?
Like kosher food is on the food and not on.
Yeah, that's not what it means.
But it's the same.
No, what he means is that if you own a house and don't live in it, are you chayav in the mezuzah? house that you don't live in? Or is the person that owns it chayiv, or is the person that lives in it chayiv? That's a discussion, right? We hold chayiv sadar, that only if you live in it you're chayiv. Right? The renter, if you have a house that's rented out, the renter is obligated. So is it an obligation on the person? I think it's an obligation on the person that's living there. No?
If you're not obligated to go buy a house with a door so that you can't.
I hear you. But you're not obligated to buy a beggar to put on tzitzis.
That's just me.
Okay, just a question. They want to hold up.
Okay.
Leftover question from yesterday.
Okay. Now we say you're obligated in tefillah. The rachamininu. The reason is, why the chayiv in tefillah? Because tefillah is compassion from Hashem. Rashi over here says, don't say tefillah pshita. Don't say that. Taisus actually has it. Reason why Rashi doesn't have it, Taisus explains, and Rashi also, because it's not a deraisa. So the Gemara explains like this: there's a pasuk in Tehillim, that evening, morning, and afternoon, I speak, and you hear my voice, referring to davening. That means that it's at all times of the day. So I could have thought that tefillah is not time bound. So kamash malan. I could have thought that it is time bound. Not all the day. I have specific times. That it's only those specific times. Kamash malan, that you are exempt, and it is time bound. And maybe Kamash malan. See, there's a problem over here. The problem in this Gemara is, because I could have thought it's a mitzvah sasei man grama. Now, really, it's the tefillah is a derabanan. How do you say it's a mitzvah sasei? So, Tosfos says that even a mitzvah sasei midirabanan, mitzvah sasei man grama, even a positive derabanan, is also exempts women. There's also women exempt from it. So you could say the same thing even though it's a derabanan.
Well, the tefillah itself, isn't that a mitzvah sasei? Without getting into splitting up the times.
Like this.
Because I'm saying, if you say it's a mitzvah sasei, and you don't
we're asking if it's a deraisa.
Yeah, deraisa, then women would be obligated. If you avoid the time issue. The time issue is just midirabanan.
Right. So if we say that, let's say we have the Gersa Pshita, it's a mitzvah shazman grama.
Was it the other way?
Pshita that they're chayiv, kamash malan, that it's a mitzvah. I could have thought that it's mitzvah shazman grama, kamash malan, that they're chayiv anyway. Right? That would fit. This would be a good support. Who holds that it's a deraisa, the Rambam or the Ramban? I think the Rambam holds that there is once a day. I think it's a deraisa. The Rambam. So this could be a support for that. Okay. But mezuzah. Now over here the Gemara says pshita that she's chayiv in mezuzah. Kamash malan. I could have said that mezuzah is compared to Talmud Torah. Why? Because it says and then it finishes off in the second parsha of Shema. And I know that women are exempt from Talmud Torah because it says and the Gemara tells us you have to teach your sons. It doesn't say that you have to teach your daughters. Right? So there's a biblical exemption for women from Talmud Torah, and I could have thought that the same thing would apply to mezuzah because there's a comparison there. It's Kamash Malan that the chayiv in mezuzah, the Birchas Hamazon, and they're exempt, and they're not exempt from Birchas Hamazon. They're chayiv, and women are chayiv in Birchas Hamazon. Pshita could have thought that that's I should have known that without the Mishnah. That's obvious. It's not a mitzvah man gram. It's mal the tema hayel except says Hashem lachem be'erev basar lechal v'lechem b'beikel espaya. Have a pasuk that says that Hashem will give for you meat in the evening and in the morning bread. So it's man grama. It's like the time for meals. Maybe I could have thought that this is a time-bound mitzvah. Dami, it's similar to so Kamash Malan. It tells us that it's not a time-bound mitzvah, and they're obligated in Big Samasa. Seems from Taisvis that not everyone had this Gemara right there. It says Yisli Garsi. Okay, interesting. What's the Gillian? Oh, there is a Gemara later on that's going to ask this. This is interesting. Okay, we'll see. We'll go further. Amar Ravada Barava. Ravada Barava says, Nashim chayaves kiddush hayayim dvar Torah. Women are obligated in kiddush on Shabbos, biblically. Why? Where it says Amai. Why? Mitzvah seishos man gramahu. It's a time down mitzvah. You only say it on Friday night. In every time down mitzvah, women are exempt. Abaya answers that it's midrabanan, that they're obligated only rabbinically. Actually, biblically they're exempt. Rabbinically they're obligated. Now,
That's no different than anything else.
the Gemara is going to say, Amalei Rava, two problems. First of all, you said, tells Ravada Barava, you said that it's according to the Torah they're chayav. Dvar Torah, right? That it's a Torah command that the women are chayav. It's just like everything else. Every pasuk of command, let the rabbis come along and say that I know biblically you're exempt, but do it anyway. Rava has his own interpretation. Why are women obligated in Kiddush? We have two verses in the Torah regarding Shabbos. One is remember the Shabbos, and one is guard the Shabbos. Kol sheyeshna b'shmira. Anyone that's obligated to guard the Shabbos, that to guard means to observe all the negative commands that are associated with Shabbos. It means you're not allowed to violate Shabbos with work and all of those things. Anyone that has those commands, the Yeshna B'Shira also has the remembrance command. So the remembrance commands is to make Kiddush, to remember Shabbos when it comes in. So Hani Nashi and these women, Hayol Visna B'Shmira, because they're obligated to keep Shabbos, Isna B'Shira, they also have to make Kiddush.
And also like him. You could say that's also.
Okay. Okay, we light candles because of Shalom Bayis. There should be light in the house. The husband shouldn't like stub his toe or look for something and say, I can't find my thing. Well, I guess you could make up with your wife if she wants to make the kiddush. You can light the candles. No, there's reasons for why it's associated, why the women took that out.
It says very nice that Birkas Hamazon, it says a lot.
But 1 second, we're going to get to that. Wait 1 second. Amalei Ravina l'Rava. Ravina says to Rava. Mark chart. Should put that over there. I think it's in the earlier Ravina. Nashim b'Birkas Hamazon deraisa derabanan. Are women obligated in benching biblically or rabbinically? L'may nafkamina. What's the difference? Well, Gemara explains that if they can bench for other people, for other men. If you say that it's biblical, I'll say deraisa mapik deraisa. So one biblical obligation can exempt another biblical.
A man can bench for a group of people.
Yeah. That's the originally Zeman was that one person benched. I don't know if I'm supposed to read these parentheses. But if you say that it's rabbinic, then it's really exempt biblically. Then if she's really exempt, but she does it for rabbinical obligations, she can't exempt anyone else. She can't say the benching for someone else. So what's the answer to this? Gemara says, Tashema, come and listen. The Emes Amru, in truth they said, it says, Ben Mevarach Lavan. The child can, Ben means a son, but Rashi explains it's dealing with the child. He's allowed to bench for his father. His father would listen, and he would bench. The Eved Mevarach LaRabbi, and the slave can bench for his master. The Isha Mevarachas LaBaila, and the woman benches for her husband. The sages have said, let a curse come onto those people that their wife and children bench for them.
Wow.
In other words, really it works, but you shouldn't do it.
I think the man was cursed to begin with, because the reason they were doing it is because he
couldn't learn, he couldn't read. So, if we say that women are obligated midiraisa, then we understand this. Is this a tesefta? We understand this tesefta that says this. Asi deraisa, mapik deraisa. How does it work? Because she's obligated biblically, and the husband's obligated biblically, so it could work. We just don't like it, but it could work. Eliyamet derabanan. But if a woman is only obligated to bench rabbinically, Asi derabanan and mapik deraisa, so a rabbinic obligation is going to absolve a biblical obligation. The husband has to bench midiraisa. She only has to bench midirabanan. How's it going to cover it? So the Gemara says, "Ulataimech." According to you, you're only explaining one part of this. You're saying that a woman is obligated midiraisa, and that's why it should work. Katan bar chiyuvo. Part of this brisa said that a child can also bench for his father. A child is obligated biblically to bench. A child can't be obligated. There must be some special case here. What are we dealing with? We're talking about that the father ate, he wasn't satisfied. He ate a rabbinic measurement. So what does it say in the Torah? That he eat and be satisfied. He wasn't satisfied. However, we'll see in a moment how that works. So because it's only a rabbinic obligation, you'll see the rabbinic obligation on the child would absolve the father. So because the father didn't eat so much, and the same thing would apply to a woman. That it could be that she's only obligated rabbinically, but the father is obligated biblically, but he ate a rabbinic amount. He ate less than satisfaction. Okay, now, Chaim, the Rashi, why would a woman only be obligated rabbinically? So the Rashi there were two comments here. One was because it says, Rashi says, because we say Allah Aretz HaTeva Shenasalach, and women did not inherit the land. Part of benching is that we bless Hashem also for the inheritance of the land, and women didn't inherit the land. You tell me Tzalaf Chad. Rashi says they didn't actually inherit it; they just took their father's portion.
About
Tosfos says very good. Tosfos says. Tosfos has a great question. It's a spectacular question. He says, so women are exempt because they didn't inherit the land. So Kayanim and Levium are exempt also.
Ooh.
They didn't inherit the land either. Tosfos gives a different shot. He says, Al brischa shechazam to the tzarein of Altarascha shleim anatanu. And women don't have bris and they don't have Torah. And the Gemara tells us that anyone that doesn't say bris and Torah and Birkas Hamazon wasn't yaitza. Because they can't say bris and Torah, so there it's only rabbinic.
Why Torah, no?
Yes, they have an exemption from studying Torah. Yeah, I mean, his question is Ravina who was asking this. Ravina was asking Rava. His question is, on the other hand, they do have Torah, whatever Torah that they're supposed to learn. You can say Torah. They do have a bris. They don't have a Isha command the Mali Dami. They're shaykhs to the bris. I mean, the question is a good question. The question is, one second, they do have some association to the Liam. They have an association to bris. They have association to Torah that can make them. Okay. We're up to Darash Rabavira. Rabavira taught. Zimna namla Shmeder Rabami, Zimna namla Shmeder Rabasi. Sometimes he said in the name of Rabami, sometimes he taught in the name of Rabasi.
This is awesome.
Amru Malachi Asher Stefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The angels said in front of Hashem. Dr. Stein, if you would have taught this, you would have brought in angels.
No problem. Rabbi, he's answer.
Rabbeinu Shalom. The angel said, Master of the world. Master of the world. Kasab B'Sarasach. It's written in your Torah. That God doesn't, how do you say Yisapanim? He doesn't show favoritism. And he doesn't take bribes. 1 second. You show favoritism to the Jewish people. Hashem should turn his face to you. That's not fair. Amalahem, he says to the angels, is it possible that I shouldn't show favoritism? I wrote and I obligated them in the Torah. You should eat and you be satisfied and you should bless Hashem. But they're so careful, for themselves, ad kazayasvad kabeya, that they even bench. If they eat a kazayas or if they eat a kabeya, it's machlekes when the benching is a kazayas or a kabeya, which means that they go over what they're obligated to do, and so therefore Hashem also does it. That's support of all the chumras. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it's a new Mishnah here.
Be careful on benching.
Even with the kazayas. Okay, the Mishnah says, Balkeri, someone that is tamei because he had an emission. They had relations or had an emission. So, Mahar Believai, he thinks the Kriya Shema, Ve'inam Mevarech, but he doesn't say the blessings of the Shema. Leila Fanev, Leila Achrev. Not the ones before the Shema, which is Yotzer HaMoires, or Habech Abraham Yisrael B'Yava, another Yotzer or an Avasayim. And he doesn't say the blessings afterwards, which is Emes V'Yatziv until Gal Yisrael. He doesn't say that. He only thinks Kriya Shema itself. I just explained this according to Rashi. There is Yerushalmi that explains this Mishnah. The Yerushalmi explains the Mishnayos, like the Babli explains the Mishnayos, right? Our Gemara explains the Mishnayos. But Yerushalmi has the same Mishnayos. Yerushalmi explains this Mishnah that Maharer Belibai, Ve'ina Mevarech, is referring to the actual blessings of the Shema. We said that you don't do anything with the blessings of the Shema. You just skip it. You don't even think about it. Yerushalmi says that no, the Shema you're going to recite. The blessings of the Shema you think of. Now, what is going on here? What happened was Ezra instituted that anyone that's tamei should not study Torah until they use the mikveh. So it's called Tfilas Ezra, Takanas Ezra. We had this before. So far, this is going to be the sugya here, no? This is the big sugya. So this is the sugya. So because of that, there's certain parts of davening that you shouldn't say either. And so right here we have that according to Rashi, according to our Gemara, that you don't recite the Shema, you only think the Shema. Now, Ba'al Hamazon, what about benching? It says, Mevarich la'acharav. He benches afterwards. Now, the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yonah say that it means he thinks the benching. It's like Kriya Shema, he only thinks the Shema. Ve'ina Mevarich lefanav, but he doesn't say the blessings beforehand. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Mevarich lefnei malach re'eh. Yehuda says that no, he's able to recite the Shema before and afterwards. We'll see in the Gemara. Okay. The blessing before eating is rabbinic. The blessings on Shema, probably rabbinic also. We'll see exactly. But that would make sense. That the Daraisas, you think, which is Kriya Shema and benching. And the rabbinic ones, you don't do anything, you just skip. Amar Ravina. Ravina says, what's he doing by thinking? Zoyse Meres, this tells me here, Kedibadam, that thinking is like speaking. And therefore, that's why he's thinking it, so he should be Yaitza. If you say it doesn't work, so Lama Mahar, so why is he thinking the Shema? It doesn't work. Elamai, you have to say here, Kedibadami, that it is like speaking. So Yaitza Bisvasav, so why doesn't he just speak it? If it's like speaking, then he should say it. If it's not like speaking, so then it doesn't work. And if it is like speaking, so let him say it. So the Gemara answers Kadash Kambasina. We find that by the giving of the Torah, that the men needed to separate from their wives. And based on this, Ezra instituted his enactment that after someone has relations, he has to use the mikveh before he studies Torah, or after this, he has in the mission. So,
isn't this the classic example of the Gezerah that you refused?
Yeah, that's what we're going to see later. We're going to see later. The Mishnah wasn't. This Mishnah was put in place at that time.
There's only an obligation to do it once a year.
Right. Well, even I don't know if Yom Kippur is a real obligation. It's a minute. It's not an obligation.
No. Then if not, then how is Talmud Torah made it?
Should override this.
I'm not allowed to study Torah because I didn't.
This takanat is well. Yeah. Why exactly instituted? We'll see in the Gemara later. We'll see. Patience. That's one reason. You'll see. We'll see several reasons. So what's happening here is that we find by Matan Torah over there, Hashem spoke. The Jewish people listened, and they were supposed to separate from their wives and use the mikveh. Okay, that means that only when there was speech there are you obligated to use the mikveh, because shemeya ka'aina, because listening is like responding. So that means that it's actually like speech. So over there, if there's real speech, then you're obligated to use the mikveh. But if there is no speech, at all, just thought, then there's no obligation to use the mikveh. So that's what we're learning from Sinai. This is a raya, from that here, Shemea Ka'ina is speech itself, but it's written here with Makalik. Okay, I guess. Rav Chisda Amar, Rav Chisda says, here, Alav Kedibadami. No, the opposite. Here, thought is not like speech. Because if it would be like speech, so let him say it. Elamai, here, Alav Kedibadamis. What are you going to tell me? That it's not like speech. Lama Mahar, so why is he thinking it? What does he gain from thinking? He's thinking the Shema. This is a discussion. This machlekes, the Balamar and the Ravid. If when we say here Mahara, if he has to move his lips while he's Mahara, does he make does he make the motions of his mouth like he's saying it just silently? Like Tfilas Chana. Very good.
I need to breathe, not less.
Okay. Amar Rabbalah, we have to answer this. he's not really gaining anything by saying the Shema. It's not considered like speaking, like by thinking the Shema. It's not really like speaking. But the fact is that the whole world, that means everyone in his shul, is saying the Shema. Hu Yoshev V'Batel, and he's just sitting there doing nothing. So we're going to see in a moment that that's sort of like a statement, right? Remember the yeshiva bachim that would walk out that the prayer for the state of Israel or something, like make a statement like that's not right. So here everyone's saying the Shema, and he's making a statement. He's sitting over there.
This wasn't the Gemara's attitude the other day with the chassid who was in the Chayit and everyone was davening.
Was that everyone was davening and him not? Is that what's going on? Was there a millionaire?
Was a machlokes, but the question was, is he Hordi or not Hordi?
So just off the bat, it's a good point. But just off the bat, I would say that everyone understands what's going on. So, but over here you have just a guy sitting there, right? Okay, the Gemara says, so let him do something else. Maybe it'll look like it. Who said? Rashi, Taisa says, someone says, Pirkei Achrona means that he should do some sort of Pirkei Avos or something. Whoa, where did I see that? Let him do something else. I don't know where I saw that.
The Bach says something.
Yeah. The Hilchas Derech Eretz. Very good, thank you. The Bach. Let him do Hilchas Derech Eretz. Amar Rabba Barava B'Davar Shar Tzibur Oiskenbay. He has to be very good. He's very good. This is what the community is doing. So you should do what the community is doing. So 1 second. He has to do what the community is doing. This is going to get us into problems. What about regular Shemon Esrei? Everyone's saying Shemon Esrei, and we didn't say that a Balkari should recite the Shemon Esrei together with them, even silently. Everyone's saying it, and he's not saying it. Utanan, and it was taught in the Mishnah, if he's in the middle of Shemon Esrei, V'niskashu Balkari remembers. No, he's a Balkari. He shouldn't be doing this. So lo yafsek. He doesn't stop in the middle. El yakatzer, but he shortens every blessing to make it shorter. Now time of the askal, that's only because he started it. Layaskel. But if he didn't start, he should not start. That means he should not recite the Shemon Esrei at all. Either community saying Shemon Esrei. If you say that the community is enough of an obligation, that's Rebbe Lazar's interpretation. Rebbe Lazar said that here thinking is nothing. He's only doing it just to fit in. And Reb Chisda says here it is something. If we're going to follow Rebbe Lazar, so why doesn't he try to fit in also for davening? Tefillah doesn't have Malchus Shemayim. That means when you say Shemon Esrei, so Rashi starts this off. Rashi starts off saying Tefillah doesn't have Elokeinu Melech Haolam. We don't say Melech Haolam in all of Shemon Esrei. It's all Baruch Atah Hashem. There's no mention Melech Haolam. The Gemara says, "Oh, interesting." Very Birkas Hamazon Lacharav blessed b'Malchus Shemayim. Here we get into a problem. But Birkas Hamazon doesn't have Malchus Shemayim. So, and the only way to read this Gemara, according to that first interpretation that we just gave from Rashi, that you don't say Melech Haolam, is if you don't have the word Lacharav and you have the word Lefanav. Very Birkas Hamazon Lefanav blessed b'Malchus Shemayim. No. The Isbe Malchus Shemayim, you have to read it the other way. By Birchas Hamazon Lefanav, the Isbe Malchus Shemayim, and Utanan Ala Mazon Mevarech Lacharav and Mevarech Lefanav. 1 second. If anything that says Melech Haolam, you are obligated in. So why don't you have to say brachas before you eat? That says Melech Haolam. That's one version of the Gemara. Rashi rejects this version. He says it the other way. He says, "Les b'malchus shemayim" means that you don't have Kabbalah's malchus shemayim in davening. Kabbalah's accepting God, that you do in Shema. So it says, now the Gemara says, 1 second, but benching, afterwards, you don't accept God either in benching. It's not an acceptance of Hashem in benching. And a person is obligated to bench. So the Gemara explains, very interesting. The obligation that you need to be included with the community is in Kriya Shema and Birchas Hamazon. But Tefillah is only Derabanan. Tefillah is only Derabanan, so that you can that you don't have to join in.
So when our mission was to have Tefillah means having Derabanan?
I'll back up before the Balkari. Yeah, well, that would be Chayav Derabanan according to this. How do we say Tefillah is Derabanan? How do we say Tefillah is Derabanan? How does those poskim that hold Tefillah is Deraisa? It must be that Shemon Esrei itself is a Derabanan. This must be some Tefillah. I guess Tefillah once a day could be a Deraisa. I'm not sure how they're going to learn this. It's going to get complex. Okay. Gemara asks some Rav Yehuda. Minayin, Rav Yehuda says, this is Rav Yehuda the Amira. Rav Yehuda by Chesed. Minayin leBirchas Hamazon la'acharei min haTorah. How do you know they have to bench? It's the Aleph. It's the Bach here. Amarav. It's Rav Yehuda Amarav. So this is a quote from a first generation Amira. How do you know they have to bench after you eat? You eat, you're satisfied, and you bench. How do you know that you have to say a bracha before you study Torah? Because he calls the name of Hashem. He gives like praise to Hashem. So the Shem Hashem, Shem Hashem Ekra is the bracha. Rashi says is that the Jewish people would respond Amen. Okay. So Shem Hashem Ekra is referring to the bracha. Without this Rashi, I would have read it Shem Hashem Ekra. We're going to call the name of Hashem as studying Torah. But Lelakin, you should say a bracha. Rashi doesn't learn it like that. It's interesting. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Lamanu b'chas Torah la'acharei min b'chas Hamazon mikal v'cheimer. B'chas Hamazon lefanei min b'chas Torah mikal v'cheimer." Rabbi Yochanan says that when someone gets an aliyah, that's how I'm translating it here. We say an after bracha on the Torah, right? When he's finished studying Torah. When someone eats, he says a bracha before he eats. So Rabbi Yochanan says that I only know from the Torah a first bracha for studying Torah and an after bracha for eating. But I can get a Kal V'chomer to tell me an after bracha for studying Torah and a first bracha for eating. It goes like this. An after bracha on the Torah. We can learn from Birchas Hamazon from a Kal V'chomer on 21a. Ma mazon she'ein tan lefanav tan la'acharav. When it comes to food, I'll explain this with the musar that goes along with it. That when someone eats, it always tastes better before he eats it. It looks better after he eats it, right? What's the sweetest part of the honey, right? The sweet anticipation before the first bite. So the food always tastes better beforehand, and afterwards. So when it comes to food, you don't say a bracha beforehand. You say a bracha afterwards. Afterwards, it's pretty lousy, right? So
That's what the honey thing. It depends on the cook.
No, when you're done, after you finished eating, you're always like, it's good, but it's all the same. Yeah, but okay, it's not as good afterwards as before. So.
Even better.
Wow, Dr. Stein.
It's amazing. Amazing act.
Happy Hanukkah.
So when it comes to food, you don't need a bracha beforehand, and that's the best part. But you have to say a blessing afterwards. So Torah, Shatuna bracha lefanah. Here's the interesting part. Torah, you don't have enough trophies for the next part. Torah that you're required to say a bracha beforehand. No. Torah, you're required to say a bracha beforehand. In a din shetuna lachra, Torah is much better afterwards than before. Beforehand, you're like, I'm going to go to the shiur. What is he going to tell me already? Afterwards, you feel satisfied. I went to a shiur. That's I've accomplished something today. So, if you have to say a bracha before, when it's not so great, so for sure you should say a bracha afterwards. If by food, when it's not so great, you say a bracha. For sure, Torah, when it is so great, you should say the bracha, which is afterwards. Now we go the other way. I'm sorry. Let's go the other way.
Oh, no. Watch out. Oh, boy.
This is for the Torah.
Oh,
Coffee
boy.
and Torah. But Birchas Hamazon goes the other way. Torah biblically, you don't have a bracha afterwards, but you have a bracha beforehand when it's not so great, before you start studying Torah. Mazon shutan la'acharav. So a mazon, food that you require a bracha afterwards, in a din sheitan lefanav, for sure you should require it beforehand.
This is shul of Esther, which has a bracha before but doesn't have one afterward. You do the same with any mitzvah.
Could be.
You're very weak, Halachimer.
The Gemara says that this is Ikal Mifrach. You could ask on this Kavachimer that Mala Masash Kenana. 1 second. Food, you have physical pleasure. So maybe that's different. Just because of the fact that you say a bracha afterwards, you're physically full. That doesn't tell me that Torah has to say a bracha afterwards. And Mala Torah can Chayi Olam. But Torah is the life of the world. What does it mean, the life of the world? That means Olam Haba. Is that how they interpret it? So,
Eternal life.
Eternal life.
I would argue that since food has a mitzvah d'oraisa, the chavos d'oraisa, the racha, that excludes all other mitzvahs. Because we have a specific bracha, that's why we need.
So maybe the fact that Torah you say a bracha beforehand is specific.
No, on the contrary, if there was a mitzvah, if it was appropriate to say a bracha after was satisfied with your mitzvah, then that would be established. The fact that there's a bracha that tells you specifically by eating, it's the only time we have to make a bracha afterwards.
Another.
This is after Cuba.
Another question is, right, Tanan, it was taught in the Mishnah, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you're making a kavachimer, that's going to turn brachas into a biblical obligation. Our Mishnah told us that if someone is a Balkari, he fulfills the biblical obligations, not the rabbinical obligations. What's a rabbinical obligation? The bracha beforehand. It's not a kavachimer. Can't be a kal v'chomer. We see that the blessings before you eat are only rabbinic. That's a strong question on Rabbi Yochanan. Amar Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda says, maybe this is the same. This is a Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel I have on the side. Before was Rav Yehuda Amar Rav that said you have to say a bracha. Okay, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Safek kara kriya shema, safek loy kara. If someone doesn't remember, did he recite the Shema or not? Eina chayzev v'kara. He doesn't recite it again.
Why don't we just switch for a moment? This whole discussion of Kriya Shema, morning, evening, both?
Both.
It should be both because Kriya Shema is Kriya Shema.
Wait, how can you say you're not chosen if it's midoraisa, sefik midoraisa or coming?
Right.
Supposed to.
Right. Maybe Kriya Shema is only the Rabbanan according to this Gemara. You'll see in a moment. Safek amar emes v'yatziv, safek lo yamar. But if he doesn't say the bracha afterwards, emes v'yatziv, he's not sure if he says it. So chayzev amar emes v'yatziv, he goes and repeats it. Okay. a little surprising. Gemara says, my timer. What's the reason? Kriya Shema derabanan, emes v'yatziv deraisa. Kriya Shema is only rabbinic. Emes v'yatziv is biblical. The Gemara is going to ask on this, but we'll see in a moment. Masav Rabbi Yosef asked, when you lay down and when you get up, Kriya Shema is deraisa. Amalei Abaya responds, that's referring to Divrei Torah. Kriya Shema is only rabbinic. When you lay down, when you get up, right? You study Torah. Tanan, 1 second. Balkari Mahar, believe it, Balkari recites, says the Shema in his mind, in his heart. And he doesn't say the blessings before and afterwards. And when food, he only benches afterwards in his mind. But he doesn't say anything beforehand. But if you say that emes v'yatziv is a deraisa, so why doesn't he say emes v'yatziv? Right? Kriya Shema was the deraisa. That's what you said it. Emes v'yatziv was not the deraisa. Emes v'yatziv is the bracha after Shema. Gemara says, my time mevarich. Why should he recite it again? Imisham Yitzias Mitzrayim. If it's because of Yitzias Mitzrayim, it could be Kriya Shema. So he already recited it in Shema. I'm sorry, not to recite it again. My time of Baruch. Why should he recite it? Talking about the Balkari. Why is Emes V'yatziv a deraisa? If it's because of we mentioned Yitzias Mitzrayim, in over there, you say so you already said Yitzias Mitzrayim in Parshas Vayomer. So just say Emes V'yatziv, and then you don't have to recite the Shema. Does Kriya Shema for this party? Kriya Shema is better because it has both things. Let's finish the that. Rabbi Lazar says the opposite. Safek Kara Kriya Shema, Safek Leikara Chayzer B'Kara Kriya Shema. This is more comfortable. Yeah? You recite the Shema again, and because he holds Kriya Shema as a deraisa. Safek Yispal, Safek Leispal. But if he davens, Ein Chayzer Mispal. He does not go ahead and daven again. Look at this. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Levai Shispal Adam Kalayim Kulei. A Levai person should daven all day. It means if he's not sure if he davened, so he goes ahead and he davens again, according to Rabbi Yochanan. Rashi quotes us right away. He tells us as well that the Halachas Gedolos, which is one of the Svarim from the Geonim, the Bahag, Paskins like Rabbi Yochanan, by a suffix that a person should redaven. And I'm going to quote with what we say further on from Shmuel. And it should be right here.
The person has a suffix if you daven or not, and it means you probably thank you daven really quickly. You didn't have much to run, so you actually daven.
I get started here.
Right.